Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the special meeting of Wodonga Council for November 26, 2018. The first item on the agenda we have this evening is, my name is Patience Harrington, Chief Executive Officer. That's the first agenda item. That's a good one. The Local Government Act requires Council to elect a mayor after the last Saturday in October and before November the 30th. The position of mayor became vacant at 6 a.m. this morning. The election of mayor is conducted in accordance with the Local Government Act and with Council's meeting procedure local law. The local law provides that the CEO will act as a temporary chair until such time that the mayor has been elected. The election process will be undertaken at item 6.1 on today's agenda. Item 2 today, statement of acknowledgement. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. We pay our respects to their elders and to elders from other communities who may be here today. Item 3 are apologies and requests for leave of absence. Any apologies or requests? None. And item 4 is declaration under the Acts, regulations, codes or local laws. Persons are reminded that Council's meeting procedure local law prohibits the use of audio, video or still image recording devices unless prior approval has been given by the chairperson or by Council. And item 5 directs us to conflict of interest declarations. Are there any conflicts of interest to be disclosed today? None? Thank you. Item 6.1 is the election of the mayor. The report on the process for the election of the mayor is on pages 7 to 10 of those minutes. And the first order of business is to determine if the mayoral term will be for 1 year or for 2 years. In the absence of a motion for the term to be 2 years, the mayoral term will be 1 year. Does anyone wish to move a motion that the mayoral term be 2 years?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move a motion that the elected mayor of the day today would have a 2-year term.
You speak to that one? Anybody like to speak to that motion?
Chair, I think I do have a right to first say. Thanks everyone. With the opportunity, or well, not the opportunity, the sadness of having our CEO leaving in the near future, we will be needing to put in place a new CEO. Now that is a large task to undertake, and I think continuity to have someone to help guide the new CEO of our great city would be a really positive thing, and make that transition much smoother. And therefore, I would like to move that, or have the term for 2 years.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. Councillor Bennett.
No, I don't have anything further to add. Just want to reiterate Councillor Watson's points.
Councillor Quilty.
I'm going to speak against the motion. I think it's important that mayors should not be in for too long. There's something that should be changed relatively frequently, and I think a 1-year term would be long enough.
Thank you, Councillor Quilty. Any further discussion?
I'd like to reiterate what Councillor Watson and Bennett said, and I've got to disagree just in this particular occasion on the length of time for the mayor coming into. The reason being is there hasn't been any other person amongst us councillors show any interest in the role. The current mayor, the one we just had, there's no current one at the moment, has shown great leadership and been a really good mentor for us councillors, which is what you want in your mayor. So until one of us is prepared to put our hand up, I don't see any reason not to be going on a 2-year term. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Lowe. Any further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion that there be a 2-year term for the mayoral position. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Kevin, all those in favour? Councillors Watson, Councillors Bennett, Councillor Speedy and Councillors Lowe. All those against? Councillors Hall, Councillors Mildren and Councillors Quilty. Thank you. We'll now conduct the election of the Mayor, with the Mayor to be elected for a 2-year period. I now invite nominations for the position of Mayor. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Anna Speedy, Councillor Anna Speedy.
Councillor Watson nominates Councillor Anna Speedy. Is there a seconder for that nomination? Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Do you accept the nomination, Councillor Speedy? Thank you. Nominations for the position of Mayor. Councillor Quilty.
I'd like to nominate Ron Mildren.
Thank you, Councillor Quilty. Is there a seconder for that motion?
I'd like to second that, thank you. Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Councillor Hall. Where am I going now? Do you accept the nomination, Councillor Mildren?
Thanks, Madam Chair. I decline the nomination. Business commitments make it too difficult. Thank you.
So Councillor Mildren's declined the nomination. Are there any further nominations for the position of Mayor? In that case, I will announce, in the absence of any other nominations, I declare Councillor Anna Speedy elected as Mayor. Congratulations, Councillor Speedy, and I invite you to assume the chair.
Thank you, CEO, for driving the bus for a little while. Before we move on to 6.2, can I please just say thank you to the council team, and it's a huge honour to continue this role. It's a very big role, and it certainly takes all of my time, energy and effort, but this city is absolutely worth it. So thank you, and I look forward to the next 2 years because this city gets more exciting every day. Item 6.2 is election of the Deputy Mayor. So the process, council, is there on page 15. So, councillors, I'm just going to check. We asked for a second year. Yes, thank you. 2 year. Councillors, so the first order of business is that we determine if the council wishes to elect a deputy mayor, and then we will move to the term. So, councillors, would somebody move that we take the position of deputy mayor to be filled? Can I have someone move?
I'll move the motion to see if we need a deputy mayor position.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett. That leaves the floor open for any debate around that. Councillor Lowe.
Normally, I wouldn't say a deputy mayor is needed, to be honest. I think it should be, if you have an equal shared workload amongst all councillors, then any councillor should be able to step into the role as a deputy mayor or a stand-in mayor on your absence, Madam Mayor. But as Councillor Mildren alluded to, is quite busy with work, and a lot of the opportunities are during day and during business hours. So I think it might be important for us in this particular team to have a deputy mayor, just because it seems to be the same few people doing a lot of the carrying and heavy lifting. So I think by having a deputy mayor, it gives a seconder a little bit more surety of making themselves available. And also, to be honest, I think it should come with a pay increase, but that's a whole separate issue again. Thank you.
It is just sound business practice for businesses, for government organisations to have a deputy position. Albury, Wangaratta, Indigo, Alpine, Towong, Benalla and Mansfield all have deputy mayors. And in the draft Local Government Act that will go before Parliament next year, it actually states that the position of deputy mayor would be mandatory, not optional. The deputy mayor position doesn't exclude other councillors from putting their hand up and attending events and representing council. And it's really important to emphasise that the only responsibility that would not be open to other councillors if there was a deputy is chairing the monthly meeting if the mayor isn't available. It's essential that all of us work together as a team and put our hand up and continue putting our hand up to represent our community as broadly as we can, and we need to share this responsibility.
Newly elected mayor, congratulations. But I've always been anti a deputy mayor in the reasoning that the whole team needs to pull together and work together as a team, and that the leadership's there. However, we do have a position where we'll be going to the polls in 2 years' time, and look, we don't know who around the table will be successful or who will even stand. But I do believe we need to start having someone in place to learn the role and have connections. I think the two cities, one community is another aspect where the deputy could sit in and do some things there as well. So learning a lot of the process. So I'm going past many, many years of voting against the deputy to actually going to be voting for the deputy for that reason, is that just to bring if this motion is successful, I'd hope to think that every councillor around the table does rely on the deputy and the mayor of the day. I think we're all elected and we're all responsible out there with our community when we can. And I understand work commitments are an issue, but whenever we can, we have put our hand up as elected members of our community and our greater community to represent our people, and I think we need to be about for all the times they're there. So, Madam Mayor, that's a very long-winded discussion, but I am voting in favour for those reasons and to bring some continued leadership if people are successful.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Councillor Quilty?
I'd like to speak against the motion. I think we've coped very well the last 2 years without a deputy mayor. Past when there was needed someone to step into the chair, we've managed that very well. So in the absence of the expectation that something's going to happen to this mayor in the next 2 years, I don't see any need to have a deputy.
I don't support a deputy mayor for reasons. When I was first elected onto council, it was put to me that it wasn't necessary, and it would be having a deputy mayor limited the opportunities for other councillors to step up if need be. So I won't be supporting it.
Councillors, I'm going to agree to a deputy mayor, and in fact, in my 13 years, there's actually only been 2 one-year terms of deputy mayor that I can remember. And my reasons are just slightly different, although some of them are the same. The ease of process stuff absolutely helps. The rationale that the workload shared between councillors absolutely shouldn't change. But my further reason is actually about succession planning. Really good corporate governance is actually about making sure that you have a plan that enables the intel and the contacts to be handed appropriately. And in many years on council, that hasn't always been the case. And I have, numerous years sitting under my belt, but also numerous contacts, etc. And having a deputy mayor that can attend some of those government-type meetings, etc., is going to be really important to hand on those contacts and make sure there's some continuity into the future. So I would absolutely support having a deputy mayor in this instance. Councillors, that's a case back to Councillor Lowe for any close.
As I alluded to earlier, Madam Mayor, normally I wouldn't support it if the workload was shared, but I agree succession planning is key, which is also why when we get to the stage of the term, I'll be endorsing a one-year term for a deputy mayor, because the deputy mayor position should also be shared amongst councillors if they wish to go down that path. But you're semi-right there, Councillor Quilty, that we have been able to survive and keep moving without a deputy mayor, but the weight of the workload for councillors attending all these events is still falling on the few. So if we're going to have still few people, and you'll be leaving us, quite sadly. Yeah, maybe, maybe. Which unfortunately won't change anything to our workload. It'll still be the same. So therefore, I think we definitely need a deputy mayor to step into the place and give that succession planning a route to go by. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So, councillors, the motion before us is that we accept the position of deputy mayor to be filled. All those in favour? Against? Motion is carried. Sure. So the motion that's sitting before you, councillors, is that the position of deputy mayor be filled. All those in favour? Councillor Bennett, Councillor Watson, Councillor Speedy and Councillor Lowe. Against? Councillor Mildren, Councillor Hall and Councillor Quilty. Thank you. Councillors, that leaves us to move to the term of that position. Does anybody move for a 2-year term? If not, that lapses and it becomes 1 year. I have no movers, so therefore it will be a 1-year term. So, councillors, given that we have the motion passed that the position of deputy mayor be filled, do I have any movers to invite nominations as the position of deputy mayor? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
So did you want to?
Okay. Councillors, on page 15, there's option 2, which is if councillors support the position of deputy mayor, that the following motion be put. I would ask, so we'll do this before we have nominations? Yep. Councillors, are you comfortable with that? Yep. So councillors, that, I'm not going to read it all out because it's long and lengthy. For those in the gallery, it's on page 15 of 23. If councillors support the position of deputy mayor, the following motion be put. The motion is there and it is 1 year. And then there's point 1 and 2 in there. Can I have a mover to accept this motion? Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Thank you, Councillor Watson. Any comments? No. Other councillors? No. Councillors' motion is there before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried. Now back to inviting nominations for the position of deputy mayor. Do I have any nominations? Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd nominate Councillor Lowe.
Do I have a seconder for that? 2. 2 seconders. Councillor Quilty. Councillor Lowe, do you accept the nomination?
I decline that nomination, thank you.
Do I have any other nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councillor Kat Bennett.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Lowe. Councillor Bennett, do you accept the nomination? Thank you. Did you wish to say anything, Councillor Watson?
Madam Mayor, just to really endorse, even though we are putting forward a deputy to support the mayor and support the city and support the CEO and staff, it doesn't mean to say that we other councillors take a back seat. And I think it's very important that we continue on committees, on all sorts of things to support both the mayor and the deputy if the vote's successful. It is just one of those things that will develop our team even stronger, I believe, and giving some, because Madam Mayor, we're the only two old existing councillors, and you know it's good to experienced. You don't like the word old, I see, but I think it gives the opportunity into for the next 12 months, opportunity to gain some knowledge through a deputy.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations? Councillor Quilty.
Yep, I'd like to nominate Councillor Hall.
Do I have any seconders? Councillor Mildren. Councillor Hall, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
So I'm just going to check that I make sure. So I need to take a vote of each candidate in alphabetical order, given that B comes first. I'm guessing we go by last names, not by first. Can I please, so all those in favour for Councillor Bennett as Deputy Mayor, please raise your hand. All those in favour of Councillor Hall, please raise your hand. Councillor Bennett has the numbers. That's good enough as official. Congratulations, Councillor Bennett. Well done. Okay, councillors, item 6.3, appointments to committees. Councillors, they are as the status quo. Is there anybody who wished to ask for any change there? Councillor Mildren.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to suggest that we don't put a councillor to the Traffic Liaison Committee because it's fundamentally a operational committee.
Did you wish to have any comment about that and the usefulness of having a councillor on there?
Even before I was CEO and as a director, there's always been a councillor on the Traffic Liaison Committee. I think it's something that can at times be both operational but strategic in terms of how what we do across the city impacts on day-to-day traffic and movement. In the past, it has been a useful position because that councillor, has brought back to the council useful information that we can address.
Yeah, Councillor Lowe.
Just a question to the CEO. Is it something that can be handled by staff on the committee? So we're just talking about workloads and stuff earlier, and we're all happy to put our hand up to it, but some of the meetings we go sit on seem like they could be handled by staff, and we're just wondering, is this one of those committees?
Look, although it has worked well in the past, it is one of those committees that staff could do. There is a staff member liaising all the time with different sectors on that committee. So my answer to that would be yes. And certainly staff report back to councillors on a range of committees and projects that are happening across the city, and that would certainly continue.
Did anybody have anything else? Councillor Watson.
A question to you through to Councillor Mildren. Is it many meetings a year you're attending, or is it your work commitment? Because I'd be happy if you weren't available. I might put my hand up. Or do you think it's just more the process of the meeting, and it should be just at officer level?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's not a matter of, personally for me, being the past representative. It's simply a matter of the the issues that come up at it are fundamentally operational matters by and large. There's very few things that councillors influence or have any real degree of input into. It's pretty much a technical committee. Occasionally there might be little bits and pieces that pop up, but they're not things that shouldn't ordinarily be reported through the council meeting anyway, and an officer can bring that stuff back to a council relatively easily.
Does anybody else want to have any comments or ask any questions?
I'm just going to mention, not about that, but about the audit committee. We might want to have an alternate in place in case.
So can I just finish off the discussion, and absolutely I'll come to that, but we can do that as it happens. Yeah. That's absolutely doable. Thank you, Councillor Quilty. So is everybody comfortable if we remove a councillor? So I'm just going to use the council or term, the council or from the traffic liaison. So councillors will take that off. So I'm going to put the list that's there to the recommendation. So the list will have the traffic liaison and road safety removed, unless anybody's absolutely eager to get onto it. Councillor Watson.
Madam Mayor, I'm happy with that outcome, but could we review it in 12 months' time to see if the council have lost any input or any community? I think it's more the community-based part of it to report back to us as councillors.
I think that's a great idea, Councillor Watson, and we tend to do that anyway and keep looking at them to keep checking their relevance and making sure that if there's any new ones need to come on and etc. So I think that's a good point, and that'll be picked up by Officer Scully. So, councillors, that list is there on page 18 minus the Traffic Liaison Committee. So the recommendation is there for those. Can I have somebody move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Quilty. Thank you, Councillor Watson. Is there any other further comments? No, councillors, motion is before us. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried. Now, this leaves the item for the 6.4, which is the process of appointing the new CEO. Councillors, the recommendation is there on page 4 of the hefty document that we have that has all of the attachments for the applications for this business. The recommendation is there, and I'm going to need someone to move it, and where it says insert name of company, councillors, that we insert the name there, and that the budget variation, as per our discussions, is sitting at 65,000. So, councillors, are you happy to insert the name of the company as SHK, as per our discussions and deliberations? Yes? I'll have someone move it anyway, just so that it's for brevity. In addition to that, item 3, the subcommittee comprising of myself, Councillor Hall and Councillor Bennett, as per our deliberations also. If you could just make those adjustments so that then the recommendation that's being put and someone moves is complete. Can I have someone move it? Thank you, Councillor Watson. Someone second it? Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Councillor Watson.
Oh, Madam Mayor, it's a huge process to get a new CEO, and we'll be very sad to see Patience Harrington leave. However, we do need to go through this process, and I think with the shortlisting of the companies that we've looked at, I think this is the ideal company to bring someone from either in local government currently or external from local government. So it's going to be a good process.
I just wanted to make a point that so it'll just be myself, the Mayor and Councillor Hall doing the first shortlist, and after that it will be all councillors. It's only just us three at that start, just in terms of it's quite difficult to get us all together and we just want to move through this, but then from then it'll be all councillors.
So, councillors, you're right, already it has been rigorous. It takes a lot of time to make all this stuff happen. So I thank Councillor Hall and Councillor Bennett for offering their services up to put their time, energy and effort in, because it does take a lot of time. We're working to tight deadlines, including over the Christmas period. So, councillors, it will be that's stepped out very clearly in those documents that we have, and we will meet with the consultants once appointed in the very near future as well. So having worked with several of these companies in very recent times, I think that we are going to be in exceptional hands. Councillor Watson, to you for anything for close? Nope. Councillors, I'm just going to reiterate the recommendation that the company name is SHK. The budget variation is 65,000, 10 of that being for advertising. The subcommittee comprises of myself, Councillor Hall and Councillor Bennett. And again, the company name inserted is SHK. Councillors, recommendation is there. All those in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried. There is no further urgent business, and that leaves me to close today's meeting and make sure I invite the gallery to our final Christmas meeting on the 10th of December. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, gallery.